shot or coming dunking. The time is clear to disappear. You not interfere with what I have right here. All my inner fears are yesteryears. I cannot racketeer with you puppeteers. I thought there was something wrong with me, but all along I'm strong. You see, all disappears to a different league with better play and a better team. Not regiment, more delicate, more relevant to intelligence. None of my words are testament for all those who let it in.
Do you want the super grow in the back or the front here? Okay. I'll load you with the soil right here, and then we can go up top of the rock. Yeah, no problem.
I don't often give people these words on this level, but it felt like you really needed it lately, man. I've seen your faces, I've felt your vibes, I felt your emotions, just not even saying anything, just holding a beer. I've seen the look in your face when you see people outside the club sometimes, and how you just fade off and get lost somewhere in your head. And you are not alone. You are not unseen. And you are not in the shadows. You are a light that inspires many people in this entire state, actually, that I've talked with, to get up out of bed and make something better of today. I've talked with a few hundred people, actually, that you've helped out, believe it or not. So, one love, ours up. Real live music.
Sometimes I hide in my mind just to get away.
There was a time in my life I was feeling really suicidal and really wanting to give up on music and just call it quits. And out of the blue, my friend Chris Blunt left me a voicemail. Just the realest thing, the way he said it to me, that like re-sparked my spirit back up again. And just to know that someone believed in me that much. So I decided to give it back to him because he's always been a big fan of mine. So I decided to incorporate that message that he left with me into one of my songs called My Mind, just to kind of say thank you and, you know, show him how much that his words did mean to me.
We live in this hell, a similar cell. The sick and the wicked would never get bail. Confined in these chains, never had no help. I hide my pain with liquor itself. Find my heart on a dusty shelf. Better to the world if you just can't tell. If you just can't tell, oh well.
Nice to finally meet you.
Nice to finally meet you as well, player. Nice to meet you. I appreciate you. That's the hardest part. Is like when everything's going right, it's easy to stay sober. It's when shit starts going wrong. That's like the real test.
Yeah. Check.
I think that's good. I'll probably be leaning in. It's gonna be screeching.
You had mentioned, feeling suicidal. You just released a new music video, which is something I wanted to talk to you about because I've been dealing with I've been struggling with feelings like that recently. So it was really cool that you released that when you did because, like in the same way where you're like, hey, this saved somebody's life. Like I felt like, in a moment that I felt extremely alone, you allowed me to not feel that. So tell me a little bit about that music video, where it came from.
I just kind of wanted to, with the video, express to other people the feelings that I felt. And with it all, the way the video is, how it all goes in reverse, it kind of makes the decision not to, like, it happened, and then we're, like, going back in time to make it not happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then tell yourself, hey, you know what I mean, let's give each other these reasons not to fall through with that,
I personally, needed to see that when I did see it, so I do want to thank you for making that.
Hey, man, I got a lot of love for you.
I appreciate you, Blair. Appreciate you, Blair.
I'm happy you're here.
Thank you. No, I'm happy you're
Me
here.
too.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate you.
I'm happy you're here.
Hey, I know that we've all kind of just dealt with feelings like that, and the ability to bring that to other people, I think is, it's hard enough to convince yourself to stay, and it's even more hard to kind of talk somebody else out of it. So if you can provide that for somebody else, like it's I don't know. It's really cool, man. I do appreciate it.
People can relate too. Like some people, you know, I think when they're going through it, they think like I'm the only one who feels like this.
Well, to be vulnerable is it's healing. I feel like, you know.
Yeah. I had somebody recently kind of come to me. I had been like, hey, yeah, I've been feeling suicidal. Like, oh yeah, me too. And they list off all the reasons why they were feeling like that. And I'd found out that was something that they hadn't even opened up to people that they were close to about. So it really sometimes just takes you being the first person. And I've correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like people, you know, kind of like reached out to you for that reason and been like, hey, like your music has saved me, you know, like that's for that reason, you know, like you kind of get that proof of concept that like what you're doing is helping.
I wouldn't say that I'm always happy to be the guy that people come to when they're feeling suicidal, just because, I mean, I deal with so much of my own stuff that it's sometimes overwhelming to be the ear for everyone. But it's something I feel like is my calling. And it's not just that everyone wants to, you know, I'm going to get a hold of Wassla and tell him, like, what's going on. Like, it bothers me or anything like that. But sometimes, yeah, it does become like a big weight to want to help all these people, and then still the same time wondering if I'm even doing my life the right way, or if I'm like, how could I be the helping hand when I don't even know if I got my fucking what's the word for it, ducks in a row, you know? With music, it seems like I keep finding the answers that I've been looking for, with understanding my traumas or understanding why I act a certain way. It's like I'm talking back to myself. I'm not only just talking to somebody else to hope that they can relate with what I have to say or anything. It's like I'm almost explaining a piece of me, and then then I'm saying it back to myself, and when I say it back to myself, I start to understand a part of me a little bit better.
A guy named Alex Chu, who does like a lot of community portraits, and he was looking for someone to represent the Pacific Islander Asian community. That's how this happened. He got to know me. It's crazy that our youth center's right down the street on the same block. I drive past this every single day. It's on my commute to work, and I never fail to like look at it and just be like, dang, like I'm alive. It looks like a rest in peace mural to me, low key, because my eyes are closed. It reminds me of the path that I'm on, and it definitely makes me feel like I'm on my right path and I should keep doing the work that I'm doing. It's also cool that Wassla's right next to me because he was with me in RLM, he's with me when I was in the street life, and he's on a wall with me now. And then my partner's up on a wall with me too. Like, Ascending Flow wouldn't be nothing without her by my side. And it's just a trip, man. It's a trip to see it all. It's on the Department of Justice building, which is even more crazy because I used to sell drugs down the street. To think like 10 years from that, I would be on a wall with a youth center down that street. The contrast is crazy.
Physical, spiritual. That's a good one to print out. I'm just gonna print out this whole thing.
What really influenced this program was the elements of hip hop. It was taking the experiences that I had working with all these organizations in Portland and plugging in what worked and what didn't work. One of the things that I seen missing was a system that kind of adapted to the individual and provided the tools to create and express themselves artistically. That was always cut first, artistic expression. So it doesn't have to be recording, it doesn't have to be drawing, it could be sewing. We did some thinking on like, how do we make this more attractive? And I was like, you know, hip hop is attractive. You look at MCing, you look at b-boying, you look at DJing and graffiti. And I'm like, okay, graffiti is like earth. DJing's like wind. I feel like I see wind, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, breakdancing like water, you're moving like water. And then you have MCing, you have passion, you have That's like a fire. So we started looking at those elements, wind, and I was like, okay, wind could be knowledge and education. And then we're like, what can water be? And then, oh, water is like, when you plant something and you give it water, it grows. That could be mentorship and community. And then we're like, okay, earth is like being grounded. So that's like working out, physical wellness, eating healthy, taking care of yourself. Okay, we got that one for earth. And then we're like, okay, fire, that's passion. Let's use that for artistic expression. So we started creating a model that would be attractive to funders and attractive to kids. Primarily the youth that we were working with at first were like 8 to 16. So now that we're working with youth that are older, 18 to 21, I was a little worried about how corny it would sound to them, but it seems like it's still working.
Let's just go around in a circle, or not even a circle, let's just chop it up about it. What does it mean to react versus responding to things? I feel like as men, as human beings on this planet, reacting versus responding could produce totally different outcomes.
If you react like right away in your ego, sometimes it can go bad.
And Talilo, when it hit me, I would have hit that without even.
What makes reacting and responding difficult for you?
If I kept going, it's gonna keep going and going and going, and so I'm like feeding it.
Usually, when you go through a lot of trauma in your life, it can be hard to manage those emotions.
Yeah.
Because as a young kid, you went through a lot of shit, and no one taught you. Like, mentoring wasn't always there, you know what I mean?
My most favorite thing about mentoring is when there's an aha moment. And you're mentoring, you put in all this time into helping this youth kind of get some things, but without telling them, because it's more powerful if they get it. You kind of like plant little seeds, and then they're just like, oh, that makes sense. It's like, that's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. And I want this model to be mimicked all over the nation, because right now there's 600,000 foster youth in in DHS right now. That's 600,000 people that have multiple diagnoses, multiple different traumas, multiple barriers, and I believe wholeheartedly that mentorship combined with artistic expression can save them.
Like, the goal for me is like to be able to not have like that hot feeling, like that cloudiness that rolls in, like, and that difficulty with like racing thoughts and shit happening. Like, I want like space.
Yeah.
And I want the ability to see clearly and just like be able to make more like aware decisions.
Bro, I feel emotional. And you saying that, because I've known you since you joined this program, and I know about your history in the past and your music, and you have grown so much. And the way that you wordsmith your words and you show up in your music showed up today, right now, and just it's like you're singing a song almost.
Like how my father passed, like my mom and my sisters, and what my real dad's like. Always wish I had my family there to show me how to handle life on life's terms, instead of just barely channeling the strength and muscle through it. That language was to do it, her fingers kisses blew it.
Top ramen on deck. Not the most healthiest option, but it's what we can afford right now.
Ang katawang ay damuga sa tunog ng putok. Kilalanin ang pagkikibaka para walang tagko, walang tamad na imorgante sa buhay na mabigat. Kami ay kilala sa rosa sa luska, son total makakuha sa list.
It doesn't even got that much bounce. I think it's gonna be a girl though. If it's a boy, it's like, I know how to be a boy. I know how exactly what to tell you in certain situations. Are you recording me right now? I'm recording. Damn, I gotta take a shit, bro. You should have said that.
Oh shit.
his hands up like this. If you look at the ultrasound, he like this all the time, man.
Yeah.
Ah! It's a boy! Tayo!
Say hi. Say hi. Still figuring them out, huh? Been working on this project for 2 years, and I won a grant. Once the COVID thing happened, I was like, I need to do something with this money, so I just did a quick video in Isa lang, only 1 minute music video of me with my Arnis group rapping my verse. And then that's the video that I posted on TikTok at midnight, thinking that, oh, whatever, I'm just gonna post it, see what happens. I've had other videos on TikTok too, but didn't think too much of it. And then I woke up the next morning and it was going crazy. Went from 30,000 to 100,000 to 200,000 to 1 million, and it just kept climbing and it wouldn't stop. I was like, oh my God.